Nothing to see here for now until the littlest giraffe makes his or her debut. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
And the daddy-to-be, Oliver, isn't far away. He's in the pen next door. The first of the men's NCAA Final Four games will tip off in less than 2 hours from now. Gonzaga taking on South Carolina, and after that, it's Oregon and North Carolina. The NCAA Women's Final is all set for tomorrow night. Mississippi State will be taking on South Carolina in the championship game. This is ABC News.
Imagine a kind of comfort that's unique to you. Serta did. The Serta iComfort Hybrid Sleep System. The first hybrid mattress that combines the support of our most advanced coils with the comfort of our premium gel memory foam. For comfort that cradles, supports, and cools you. The iComfort Hybrid Sleep System. Find a retailer near you at Serta.com. Serta. Always comfortable.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
From the KMET Weather Center for Beaumont of the Pass area this afternoon, we'll have sunny skies at a high 75. It'll be clear tonight with a low 54. We'll have sunshine Sunday, our high 75 with winds to 25 miles an hour. It'll be clear and windy Sunday night with a low 51. We'll have gusts to 30 miles an hour. It'll be sunny and windy on Monday with a high 68 with winds to 35 miles an hour. For the Inland Empire, we'll have sunshine this afternoon with a high of 80. For Palm Springs, it'll be sunny, our high 86 with winds to 20 miles an hour. I'm Rod Tanner for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
The United German American Club of Beaumont invites you to their spring dinner dance, Saturday, April 8th at the Parish Hall, St. Kateri Catholic Church off Palm Avenue in Beaumont. Doors open at 5 o'clock p.m. Great German food, sauerbraten, home-baked goods, pastries, beer, wine, and refreshments will be served. Dance to the Dave Myron Band. Don't miss the spring dinner dance, Saturday, April 8th, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. at the Parish Hall behind St. Kateri Catholic Church on Palm Avenue in Beaumont. Details on the KMET web events page.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Welcome. It is time for Constitution Radio with Douglas B. Gibbs. Right here on KMET 1490 AM. Thank you for joining me. We have Elise Richmond in the studio with us. I'm very excited. K-News 94.3 FM in the desert. And I've been on your show a couple times now, and now it's your turn to be on mine. And real quick, introduce yourself to the listeners who may not know who you are.
Well, Elise Richmond, as the man said here, and I am a radio talk host on Sunday morning on K-News Radio, which is 943 FM, 970, 1140, and 1250 AM. And it's every Sunday morning, 9 to 11, conservatively speaking and saying exactly what you are thinking. Is that an introduction?
That's an introduction.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here today, Doug.
Well, here we believe that American liberty promotes American opportunity, and we need to be combined to make it all work. And it's great being here on KMET 1490 AM, the local show with a global footprint. And we have listeners all around the world, but I really wanted to open up with something I sent out to you readers of politicalpistachio.com earlier in the week. But it's really, why do I do what I do? Why do I teach the Constitution? Why am I involved in CORE and Birth Choice Temecula and the Republican Assembly and all these different things? Well, you know, at the center of the human condition is the reality that we are all in this thing called life together. In an orderly society, we have choices. In a tyrannical society, our choices do not belong to us, but to a ruling class that mandates our lives for us through governmental decree. If we are not educated, if we do not participate in civics, we will be ruled over. Or we can prosper through our hard work in a system of liberty. Without education, liberty cannot be maintained. We must be dedicated to recognize that individual liberty and commitment to community are both necessary forces in the shaping of our free American society. And to understand that equality is not about where we are at the finish line of life, but about the opportunities and freedoms that we have available to us at the starting line and during our journey, and how we use those opportunities through our own personal decisions. Now, let me give you a couple real quick quotes. Frederick Douglass, without education, he lives within the narrow, dark, and grimy walls of ignorance. James Madison, a well-instructed people alone can be permanently a free people. Education is the beginning of enlightenment, and enlightenment is the beginning of liberty. So anyway, welcome to the program. We have a lot to talk about as usual. We have Elise Richmond in here. We have Alex also hanging out there in the Los Angeles County in his bunker somewhere, hiding out. How you doing, Alex?
Howdy, buckaroos. I'm just as fit as a fiddle and twice as squeaky.
There you go. I always expect, it's always something new with Alex. Dennis, great having you in here with us as well.
Well, it's been an exciting ride on the freeway to get here, Doug, but I'm glad to be here.
It's funny. I was getting nervous because I thought I was going to be alone, and it's like I told Dennis, what am I going to do? Because you can never get me talking, so.
Yeah, you're always at a loss for words. Yes, I know.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was much more traffic than I anticipated, and plus the fact that watching a GPS, driving a car that I'm not used to, I just totally passed it up and almost missed the whole show, but here we are.
Yeah, well, I called her and we got her. Luckily, she was nearby. And it's funny because whenever I have to go out to L.A., whatever the GPS says, I add an hour. Yeah.
Good point. That's what I should have done almost. 15 minutes would have helped.
All right. Real quick, before we get moving on, I wanted to let you guys know also, politicalpistachio.com has been averaging over the last few weeks 4,500 hits a day. And we just hit 3 million hits.
Well,
excellent.
Now, some time ago, you were telling me you were at 1,500, and then you got up to 3,000, and now this
over
is
the
first
last few
time,
weeks, it's
so
been 4,500 a day.
50% more, huh?
Wow.
I guess
and what's funny
it must be
about
the second hour, huh?
Well, and what's funny about it is I used to have a lot of other writers on the site, and a couple of them were anti-Trump, so I told them adios, and they told me, without them, my site's going to become a site that nobody visits, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, guess what? I got rid of the anti-Trumpers, and
wrong again.
And my site just blew up. So I appreciate those folks, and I understand where they think they stand on the Never Trump. They're so conservative, and they love to throw out, see, he's acting liberal because of this and that. And I'm actually today we're actually going to dispel some of those rumors. All right, so now before I start going down my list of what I want to talk about, I know Elise probably has a political issue hot on her mind first. So let's let Elise lead the first story. So, Elise, what is the hottest topic you want to talk about today on Constitution Radio?
There are so many hot topics today.
Oh, I know.
One of them that
I've got a long list
absolutely
today.
bombshell report from Fox News saying that Congress knows the ID of senior intel source unmasking U.S. citizens to embarrass Trump. Now, what about that? I think that's pretty hot. I just read that right before I came and printed it up. Haven't even gone through it and done anything but say that when I vet information for my own radio show, I make sure that the people that I am reading, I don't just come off and grab things and start talking about it if I don't know it's true. But this is a Fox News senior correspondent, Adam Housley.
Yeah,
so I think we can
make sure it's a reputable source.
Absolutely. So I think we can trust Adam Housley, and he tweeted a number of things just I'm going to say earlier on. And
well, this is on the heels of the WikiLeaks thing saying that the CIA is able to mask as. Let me say this quickly. They told us that the CIA can mask their hacking like it's the Russians or the Chinese. In other words, they told us what we already know, but now it's proven, or it's at least as close to being proven.
Well, a third issue on that, I mean, you've each talked about one, but is also Congressman Nunes as well.
Congressman Nunes is on my list.
He broke the subject matter a week or so ago, and now we've had a second and a third layer, and so you're triangulating. And when you triangulate, you pretty well know where you're at. So
well, my first thought is if they didn't have surveillance on Trump Tower, how is it that they knew that Mike Flynn said what he said on the phone while he was at Trump Tower?
Exactly. Exactly. And why in the world are they doing this in the first place to try to embarrass Trump? Every time he comes out and he says something in a tweet, we find out maybe sometime later he was right. Have you noticed that, guys?
Well, they can't. The liberal left cannot win in the arena of
That's
ideas.
right.
So they have to take down their opposition somehow.
Absolutely. And they can't do anything but whine now. They are very, very poor losers because Republicans are winners. And I find this very interesting. When Republicans lose, they sort of like go away. They're kind of quiet. And,
Well, they're regrouping.
Yeah, and they
and
try
reloading.
to regroup. Right? But when Democrats win, they whine and cry and scream and yell and go absolutely wild.
You mean
They
when
look
they
like
lose?
I'm sorry?
You say when they win or when they lose?
Well,
I'm sorry, when they lose. Did I say win?
Well,
I meant
remember, this is the
lose.
participation trophy crowd, number one.
Yes.
Number two, and I'm ready to bring Alex in on this, not only are they the participation trophy crowd, but also they have been taught Marxism, and a lot of them don't even realize that's what's been drilled through their skull. Alex, take over on that one.
Well, it's the same blame and shame game that they've always played. They use the techniques of smear and broad brush and make people.
But isn't this tactics that go beyond the Saul Alinskys of the world? I mean, this is very Stalin-esque, is it not?
Yeah, but I think Alinsky is Stalin-esque. That's who we're dealing with here is liars and destroyers of human civilization.
I agree. Now, I've got something I want to bring up now real quick, a topic, because no one's talking about it like I am. Okay, now, everyone in this room and Alex and probably the majority of our listeners have a real problem with the idea of sanctuary cities, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and we got sanctuary states, sanctuary cities, we got all these, governments saying we refuse. I was watching, who was it? There was someone on with Tucker Carlson yesterday. I was getting a kick out of it because they were talking about making schools a safe zone for illegals. He says, okay, then we can make schools a safe zone for people who haven't registered the farms, right?
Exactly.
And he says, well, no, because they violated federal law. There you go. Caught him, in hypocrisy. But anyway, let's go a little further here about sanctuary cities. Let's just think about this for a second. Now, here's the Constitution guy now breaking out of his shell. Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 9. By the way, I brought one for Elise. There you go, Elise. That one's yours.
If I had my bag, I would have this exact thing in my hand. I did not bring my radio bag with all my tools.
Now then you make that your vehicle Constitution, so it's always with you. You just gave her a pocket Constitution for those of you who are listening. And for those of you who have met me personally, you have one. Open it up to Article 1, Section 9. That gives Congress the authority to write legislation to prohibit persons migrating into this country. It's twofold. It was to prohibit import of persons and migration. So it allowed Congress to write law to eliminate the Atlantic slave trade and to write legislation to prohibit persons from coming to the country. It doesn't say that there's any limitations on that, religious tests or anything. It just whoever the Congress sees fit to write legislation to prohibit from coming to this country, they have the authority. Article 1, Section 9. Okay, so what that means is all immigration law then is constitutional. Okay, it is a federal authority. Just like Section 1182 of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, of which Mr. Trump used, which is from the Warren-McCarran Act of, 1952, originally is where that came from, where Congress also wrote law along with Article 1, Section 9's allowances to give the president the authority to prohibit persons if he believes they are a national security risk. Okay, so all of this is constitutional. Now we have sanctuary cities popping up. Now, it's funny how the left hates states' rights until they think it fits their narrative. They say, well, no, states' rights. We have a right not to agree with that law. Wait a second. Article 6. Article 6 is the Supremacy Clause. Supremacy Clause says that the Constitution, all laws pursuant to the Constitution, and treaties made or will be made are the law of the land, and that the states can't have laws contrary to them. So if it's a constitutional federal law, states can have laws cannot have laws contrary to that constitutional federal law. So that means sanctuary cities and sanctuary state laws are unconstitutional because they are contrary to our immigration law. Now, what's interesting about that is the liberal left uses the Supremacy Clause for everything. That's what Obama used against Arizona when they had their immigration law, which actually mirrored the federal law. Actually, it was tamer, but that's beside the point. And that was fine, even though it was perfectly constitutional for that state law. But the sanctuary cities, that is contrary to constitutional federal immigration law. They are acting unconstitutional as cities and states. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts. That was a lot to take in, let me tell you. My thoughts
Have you heard anybody say that?
No, I have not heard it exactly in that way.
That's what's
You're
surprising
correct.
me. Nobody out there is talking about this.
You're correct. The Democrats, however, think that we're all just going to roll over because, Trump didn't get that Obamacare repeal, whatever bill and all that together, so we're going to roll over and not do anything else. Yeah, it was Obamacare light, and we were kind of happy that that didn't happen because I don't want to see the next set of elections in 2 years. I don't want to see Republicans
but they're throwing distractions at us so that we don't know what to do with the sanctuary city thing.
They are throwing tons of distractions. So, of course, Monday, Jeff Sessions came forward, and he kind of laid out the law, laid it out, and he said, this is what's happening. So my question then becomes, do you really think the federal government is going to really not give them money if they continue to say they're sanctuary cities? Are they going to stand firm? Because that's the only thing that worries me about Republicans is they kind of get scared. When Democrats start yapping, they get scared, yes, and they don't have a backbone, and they say, oh, well, maybe we'll, oh, well. You know, that's the thing that worries me about all this. I want to see them say, no, San Francisco, you don't get any money. It is your fault that Kate Steinle is dead.
When the Republicans do that, then here's what comes to mind. Either they're ignorant.
They are, we know that.
Or they're fearful.
Yeah.
Or they're complicit.
Yeah. I think they just couldn't stand losing. I think they had their plan together. They thought Hillary was going to win, and that's why they were putting all of this surveillance out, and they didn't. That woman's out talking. She didn't think anybody was ever going to say anything about it. I'm quite sure that they are going to fight the stupid for the next 4 years. It just makes me nuts.
Well, you know what? And I've said this a number of times. No president other than Donald Trump would be able to even work through the madness that's going on.
You're totally correct.
He has cojones of steel.
All right,
we're upon a soft break here, but real quick, because I want to give Dennis and Alex a chance. In a couple minutes, guys, I want to hear what you guys have to say about what we just said. Dennis.
Well, the opportunity that the Trump and Republican leadership have right now is to show that we're a country of laws. And they need to take these truths that they're finding, the facts that they're finding, and they need to hold people accountable. And if they go after grand juries, if they do arrest, if they go after people that are breaking their oath of office by the actions that they're doing, then they'll get the fear of God into them. But, if we just sit back and just let them keep doing what they've been doing, then we have only ourselves to blame. So they need to get some teeth, and Sessions and the Department of Justice and those guys need to enforce the law.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I want the executive branch to enforce the law. I want the judiciary to apply the law, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, thoughts about this idea that sanctuary cities are a violation of the Supremacy Clause?
Over time, we have discussed the importance of the rule of law in a healthy society. You cannot have a society that is ruled by men because it becomes arbitrary, and the next thing you know, you're in tyranny. The Democrat Party is now a revolutionary party. They've gone way left. And as far as they are concerned, every chink that is tapped out of our armor, every assurance that we have of sovereignty that is destroyed is another step in the right revolutionary direction for them. I hold no illusions about what these people are up to. They're looking for a dictatorship of the proletariat, and if the Republicans don't grow some cojones, they're going to get it.
we embolden them by not pursuing this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we can all be in agreement of that we embolden them. And now we have to, as radio talk people, with every bit of our energy and every possibility of leadership that we might muster up, empower conservatives, Republicans. I don't care if they're leaning toward the middle or going right. We've all got to come together.
Well, this is an
to fight
American
this.
issue. It's not just a Republican. This is a countrywide issue, and the country is being stolen. Responsibilities are being usurped, and somebody needs to pay for it.
Well, conservatives have the winning message, but we have to use it or lose it. And speaking of losing it, we're going to lose this break if we don't go to it. So when we return, we're going to talk about the CRA convention. I was at last weekend, and is the GOP, did they just pass a law allowing the ISPs to sell private browsing data? We'll find out after the break.
You got a dent in your door, a scratch in your fender, or a scratch in your door and a dent in your fender. If you need auto detailing, if you need fire shooting decals on the side of your car, if you need a rally stripe right down the middle of your hardtop, I don't care what it is. The Patriots at AllStar Collision are the place you want to go. They're the only place to go. 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Web address allstarci.com to see all that they do and what they're all about. Phone number 951-279-9161. AllStar Collision, the kings of wreck and roll.
Hi, this is Ed Hoffman, President Wholesale Capital Corporation, your direct mortgage lender. Real estate prices are still low, which means now's the time to buy your next home before they go up. Whether it's a home to live in, a vacation house, or an investment property, we can meet your mortgage financing needs to help you realize the next phase of your American dream. At Wholesale Capital Corporation, we make sure you get a loan that you can afford with terms that work for you. Wholesale Capital welcomes FHA buyers, conventional buyers, jumbo loan buyers, and we proudly help the U.S. military veterans take advantage of the zero down payment VA loan program. Nobody treats veterans better than Wholesale Capital Corporation. Seniors, if you're interested in creating an additional stream of income or just making your mortgage payment go away with a reverse mortgage, Wholesale Capital would love to help you. To speak with a loan officer who has your best interests in mind, call Wholesale Capital at 855-640-2020. That's area code 855-640-2020. Wholesale Capital Corporation, where we can close.
What's your constitutional IQ? Your quest to learn the Constitution can be fun for the whole family. Learn about the Constitution as you play the Constitution Quest board game. Learn more at constitutionquest.com. The Banning Beaumont Cherry Valley Tea Party meets every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. for informal breakfast and discussion. And they meet each month on the second Thursday at 5 p.m., all at the Farms House Restaurant in Banning. Listen to interesting speakers, learn about our Constitution with our free classes, enjoy friendly discussions, and informal dining. Come join us. For more information, call Glenn Stoll, 951-316-3843.
And now, back to our program.
Welcome back, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs, KMET 1490 AM, KMET1490am.com. Get the phone app. Make your smartphone smarter. Get the KMET phone app and check out my show when it's on. April 6th, Thursday, April 6th, coming up Thursday, I will be out there at the Redlands Tea Party. Niger Ennis, myself, and Paul Lopez, who is the regional director for the Congress of Racial Equality, will be discussing what we're doing through CORE to get Constitution classes into inner city neighborhoods at the Redlands Tea Party. Look them up online, find their website. They meet, what's the name of that place there? Mentone, the...
Cattle.
Yeah, it's like a ranch restaurant kind of thing, brewery. Yeah. You got to look them up. That's where I fell short there. April 26th.
Mill Creek.
Mill Creek, that's it. Okay, Redlands Tea Party, Mill Creek, Mentone, April 6th. Redlands Tea Party. Niger Ennis, Fox News all the time. Myself and Paul Lopez of the Congress of Racial Equality. April 26th. April 26th, I will be speaking to the Pass Area Republican Women's Federated at the Farmhouse Restaurant right off of Highland Springs. That's Wednesday, April 6th, 26th. I think it's a lunch, like a noontime thing. I'll get it on constitutionassociation.com upcoming events real soon, so look it up later on there. And then last weekend, I was a voting delegate for the California Republican Assembly. Went to the convention last weekend. I got voted in to become the 28th District Director. Trust me, the name sounds better than it really is, but it's still a good position. I'm not complaining. It's awesome. I'm jazzed to be a part of the CRA convention, or the CRA, should I say, California Republican Assembly. There were some really neat speakers up there. And the one other date I want you to mark down, this is the most important one right here, I think, coming up, aside from today's Constitution Association meeting. We'll go to that later. April 22nd in Temecula. Go to bct4life.org. Birth Choice Temecula Gala. Every year. Awesome event. But I'm really excited about who the MC is this year. The MC is yours truly. I will be emceeing the Birth Choice Temecula event this year. I am a secretary for their board, so I get to be involved. And we were in a meeting, and they're saying, well, who are we going to have as MC this year? We need someone who likes to talk, someone who's familiar with the microphone, someone who, and then suddenly everybody in the room looked at me. So I will be the MC this year at the gala for Birth Choice Temecula. Get your tickets at bct4life.org. Okay, GOP bill. This has got a lot of people alarmed. This is the reason I wanted to bring it up. Did Congress pass a bill allowing internet service providers to sell and share our browsing data? Now, the media and political messaging artists, they know that perception is everything, so they put out a message that the Republicans want to make sure that those mean old internet companies can sell your browsing data and your personal information, blah, 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 blah. And they did it by voting down or repealing an Obama law, which stops that kind of thing. Here's the thing about it. It hadn't gone into effect yet. All right. So first of all, okay, it hadn't gone into effect yet. So your data, so there hadn't been a change yet. Are they selling your data? Well, maybe a certain part of it for marketing reasons. But here's the thing. The reality is whenever you have government handcuffing a private industry with federal rules, it blocks innovation and expansion. All right? So, I mean, for the whole cell phone revolution began when the federal government withdrew rules against the phone industry. So you love that device in your pocket where you've got more information in your pocket than they did in total in the world, but back however many decades ago, but yet you use it to watch cat videos and argue with people you don't know. That was because the federal government got out of the picture. All right, Trump administration, the big picture is improving the economy, creating jobs as a result of economic prosperity. The FCC rules in question that are being essentially repealed before they can reach full force would have disrupted the internet industry's ability to self-regulate, and that would have placed hindrances on the market's ability to market in a way that would have created innovation and expansion. Disallowing that kind of freedom in the industry would have hampered the economy as a whole and interfered with the birth of the next technological explosion on the horizon, whatever that innovation may be. Now, and besides, in the Constitution, there is the FCC or any rules regarding the internet constitutional in the first place? In the text of the U.S. Constitution, which includes all amendments, there are no authorities granted to the federal government regarding communication or information other than the power to establish post offices. Now, I realize the framers of the Constitution could not have possibly imagined the invention of the telephone, satellites, internet, cell phones, all that. I get it. But that's why they provided an amendment process. The federal government has never asked for permission to have that authority. They took that authority. Remember, if Congress proposes an amendment asking the states for more authority, it still requires 3/4 of states to ratify that proposal. The states are the parents. Let the kid ask the parents first for permission to have that authority, and they haven't. Anytime the federal government gets involved with anything, it bogs it down, and it ruins it. Free markets work wonderfully when it comes to self-regulation. Hey, if a company is abusing our data, or and they're farming out your information, what's going to happen? They'll lose customers, and a new business will come up saying, hey, we don't do that, and everybody will flock to them. That's the way a free market works. So keep the federal government out of the rulemaking and let the consumers make the rules. Thoughts? Let's go with you, Dennis.
Well, again, you've got a lot of trade-offs here between private information. I'm sure most of us, as we have used the media, whether it be the internet or cell phones and all the rest, didn't really consider that somewhere downstream, 5 years, 10 years later, every conversation we have, every website we go to, every email we send is being tracked and could possibly be made public. If that were the case,
and the more you let the federal government interfere with rules, that means also they're going to start poking their nose into stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm sure the American people would probably change their habits if they truly knew everything they did would be shown in the light of day.
Sure. Alex, okay, so you've got this rule on the surface. It sounds like, oh my gosh, the Republicans are going to allow the internet companies to sell our browsing data and history, personal history. But then when we start looking deeply, it hasn't even taken effect yet what they are repealing. And how dangerous is it, to let the camel's nose in the tent?
Well, it seems to me, now this is not really in my bailiwick. I'm a commie hunter more than a internet browser.
But you use the internet to do your hunting.
Yeah, well,
or your research.
Alex and I, when we first met, when I started talking technology, I had the glazed over look, and he says, "Well, I'm still trying to figure out email." He said, "So, but I tell you what, there's few people that are a bigger expert when it comes to being a commie hunter." But anyway, go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
When it comes to the subject at hand, it seems to me that it's an opportunity for the companies involved to turn around to their customers and say, come with us, deal with us, we won't sell we will guarantee that we won't sell your information. That puts them in a superior position market-wise.
Sure.
And takes care of the problem.
Sure, that's a great point. That's a very good point. All right, I saved Elise best for last. All right, Elise, go ahead.
Yeah, best for last, because I'm kind of like Alex. I glaze over when it gets too technical. My father was a banker, and he said, I'm going to work hard to make enough money so that when my roof leaks, I'm going to call, and he named the gentleman, I'm going to call Clem over there, and his name was Clem in Ann, Illinois, and have him fix that roof, and I will earn the money to actually pay him to fix the roof, because I don't know anything about that. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it. I am a commie hunter, just like Alex. I actually came in here prepared to talk about many other things, and this has kind of thrown me a bit, because if it's technical, I hire people to do it.
Okay, but see, the difficulty is if you don't know enough about it and you start hiring people, it's sort of like interpreters. How do you know that they're interpreting accurately if you don't know their language?
Well, maybe
that
I have
goes back to allowing these judges to interpret the Constitution.
And maybe I have a little more trust because I speak German and have translated, and I trust some of the things that I read and translated it myself. I don't know. But I do hear what you're saying. We do have to know about what's going on. You don't want your information out there. But see, to me, it's very simple. We know that everything we do goes everywhere. Mm-hmm. We know that already. And you would be really dumb if you didn't know that when you see the cases and the things that are on the internet and the kids that are busted for sending out these pictures of themselves and all. So that's why you would personally be very, very, shall we say, conservative. Is that a word we know? On what you're doing and what you're sending out, and you be very careful what you're saying to other people.
Be responsible. Know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And here's the
responsibility.
Thing. Whenever I have a choice between free market and government control, I choose free market
Me
every
too,
time.
every time.
And so I don't care how good the government control sounds or how benign it sounds. It goes back to the camel's nose in the tent, and you let the nose in before long, the head's in, then the neck, and before long you got the whole stinky animal in the tent with you. Don't even let the nose in. Don't even crack Pandora's box open a smidgen. It's like the McDonald v. Chicago case out there where the Supreme Court told Chicago they could not ban handguns because of the Second Amendment, applying the Second Amendment to the states, which really is not supposed to happen. And everybody called me up and said, "Hey, Doug, it's a win for gun rights." I said, "Don't be so quick. Think about what just happened. A federal court just told a city what it's allowed to do regarding your gun rights. If it goes in the way you like, it can be twisted in the way you don't like. Don't open Pandora's box even a smidgen when it comes to the federal government. Internal issues is none of their business. If it's important enough for it to be their business, amend the Constitution, ask the states for permission to have that authority, and then we'll go from there. Simple as that." All right. As you notice, as a constitutionalist, kind of a big thing when it comes to federal intrusion. Drives me nuts. Okay, real quick.
Well, I can agree with you on that. Federal intrusion, we don't want it.
Exactly.
And this is, I think, what happens when you let things, you're using the camel's nose in the tent. But when you just sort of let people creep in, they get a little more power, a little more power, a little more power, then all of a sudden you're shocked. Oh, when you should have been fighting it in the very beginning.
Yeah, and how do you pull it back once it's been that established?
Thank you very much. It's very
It's
difficult.
kind of like squatters' rights.
When I'm in a
they're
law,
there long enough, then they actually seem to have, a claim.
How do you suck the toothpaste back into the tube,
Exactly.
Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, when I'm in a loss, I simply look at and see what position the LA Times holds, and I take the opposite.
That's a good point. Except for the fact that the LA Times did say one thing that it made me kind of say, I'll keep reading. The LA Times, and I quote this so much in my show, said that former Senator Barbara Boxer had a lack of intellectual firepower. Now, that we can agree with, could we not? So there's one thing. If you ever want to know if you could agree with anything on the LA Times, remember that one.
Well, the irony
Elise?
is that despite that statement of maybe the lack of intellectual firepower, the Times didn't come out against the policy, and the Times always endorsed her.
Absolutely.
So what's that say about the Times?
Absolutely. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
As for the Times being accurate, remember, a broken clock is accurate twice a day.
True.
All right. When we return after the break, Obamacare still needs full repeal. And what do we think of Trump's tweet that, kind of challenged the Freedom Caucus? What do we think of the fact that he told the conservatives that they're just as dangerous as the Democrats? When we return. Help me fight the good fight. This radio program is funded by advertising dollars. So, if you are a business, add Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs to your business portfolio. If you are a listener, become a patron of the business's advertising on this program. Without advertising, your weekend dose of truth ends. With more advertising, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs grows, and we will be on the way to win the battle to restore the Republic. To learn more, email us at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com or visit douglasvgibbs.com.
The true patriots of AllStar Collision have been proudly serving the Inland Empire for over 20 years. Built on honesty, integrity, quality, and old-fashioned customer service, we offer lifetime warranties for our work, and every vehicle serviced by AllStar Collision is washed, detailed, the headlights polished, fluids are checked and topped off, safety checked, and returned in showroom condition. We offer free estimates, are approved by major insurance companies, and accept all claims for all cars and trucks. We use computerized frame straightening to factory specifications, offer fiberglass body repair and paint, free local pickup and delivery, and after-hours towing. Mention this radio program at drop-off and receive $100 off or a free rental car for up to 5 days during your repair. Visit us at allstarci.com or at 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Call us at 951-279-9161. We are the kings of wreck and roll.
Hi, this is Ed Hoffman, President Wholesale Capital Corporation, your direct mortgage lender. Real estate prices are still low, which means now's the time to buy your next home before they go up. Whether it's a home to live in, a vacation house, or an investment property, we can meet your mortgage financing needs to help you realize the next phase of your American dream. At Wholesale Capital Corporation, we make sure you get a loan that you can afford with terms that work for you. Wholesale Capital welcomes FHA buyers, conventional buyers, jumbo loan buyers, and we proudly help the U.S. military veterans take advantage of the zero down payment VA loan program. Nobody treats veterans better than Wholesale Capital Corporation. Seniors, if you're interested in creating an additional stream of income or just making your mortgage payment go away with a reverse mortgage, Wholesale Capital would love to help you. To speak with a loan officer who has your best interests in mind, call Wholesale Capital at 855-640-2020. That's area code 855-640-2020. Wholesale Capital Corporation, where we can close.
All right, we're time for this final segment of the first hour. Yes, folks, we have 2 hours. Isn't that great? For those of you who remember 1 hour, we crammed a lot in 1 hour. We was like, we need more time. Now we cram a lot in 2 hours and still say, we need more time. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So we got the 2 hours here on Saturday afternoon, every Saturday afternoon, right here on KMET 1490 AM. Now, I had a wonderful guest host crew last weekend. Jan was, kind of took my role. Then Dennis was here. Alex was here. And real quick, just your thoughts. Dennis, from what I'm understanding from everybody I've talked to, and the show went really well. It was a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, I just kept waiting for this voice to call in from
I wanted to, but every
Sacramento.
time I tried to want to call in to check in on you guys, stuff happened. Alex, how was it from your bunker there in L.A. County? Did the show seem to go okay last Saturday?
Well, as I've said many times, God smiles on this show. He always makes sure that we have a dynamite offering. You were certainly missed, but we still managed to get through it with excellent broadcast quality.
Well, there you go. That was pretty magnificent, if I do say so myself.
Well said.
Yeah, it was absolutely magnificent. Well, see, one of Alex's sayings is that what the world needs, other than more religion, is more of his opinion. So, anyway, okay. Obamacare still needs full repeal. All right, so first of all, the Obamacare light didn't make it, and everybody's like, okay, that's it. It's, sky's falling. They failed on it. Well, wait a second. It was a piece of garbage. The Freedom Caucus did us a favor.
Yes, they did. Thank you, Freedom Caucus.
Well, for me, it's like, okay, first of all, the federal government being involved in the insurance industry, I don't care what John Roberts thinks or says, where in the Constitution does it give the federal government that authority? Nowhere. So first of all, it's completely unconstitutional. I said, well, we have to replace it with something because, it's there. They gave us a turd, and you're telling me get rid of the turd and replace it with – how do you replace a turd? You don't. It completely stinks. Get rid of it. And here's the thing. People say, well, gosh, what about the safety net for all these people? Suddenly, you know what? You know what was the world before Obamacare? The safety nets were at the state level, and that's okay. So, okay, you don't have your Obamacare anymore? That's okay. Go down to the county hospital, get your Medi-Cal. The states have safety nets. The problem is the left believes that if the federal government doesn't do it, it won't happen. I actually talked to someone one time about federal highway system, and now it's actually technically unconstitutional. It should be up to each state on how the highways run and stuff. And they said, well, yeah, but then the states, the highways wouldn't connect to the state lines. Really? You don't think the states will communicate enough to connect the highways? Oh, look, the road just ends into the desert. What do we do? I mean, come on, people. If the federal government doesn't do it, it doesn't happen. If the federal government does it, it runs it, is really the answer. So first of all, that's my first thought. The second thought was Trump was upset about this, and he sent out a tweet that basically said in the next election he's going to have to battle the Democrats and the Tea Party caucus, in other words, the conservatives, which of the different groups that voted him in office, the highest percentage were conservatives. That's who put him there. Was he declaring war on the biggest part of his base, Elise?
It shocked me. That's the question. I totally agree with Sean Hannity when he took that on last night. Is he declaring war on the very people that voted him into that office. What in the world was he thinking when he was doing that? There are so many ways to look at this. Did he do it just to wake everybody up and draw attention? And then a week before, a few days before, he said, oh, Mark Meadows is really a great friend of mine. He's a great guy. And then now you're saying, wow, we're going to have war. We're going to fight him like we fight Democrats? Yeah, excuse me, President Trump, I love you, but oh my gosh, what?
I think it was a calculated poke and a prod. To
possibly,
it's like the sheep herder. You kind of poke them in the right direction. You don't hate them, but you want to poke them. I think that's kind of what it was.
It's all about the deal.
What was that, Alex?
I say it's all about the deal. The guy's positioning himself to where he can offer
the art of the deal. Thank you.
Well, the Republicans have had how many years to figure out what they wanted to do?
8.
They've
they repealed it 60 times or something like that.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
When they were the minority party under Obama's first 2 years, they could have come up with something. Pelosi's statement, you got to pass it to see what's in it. Well, once they got to see what's in it, they've had 6 years since they've been in quote power, to work something out, but they couldn't get it through the Senate. They couldn't get it through the White House. I understand, but all the disparity of their opinions. The leadership there has not pulled it together. There hasn't been a great communication between them and Trump to where they could offer something that would get through.
Well,
and the legislation
we need to repair it.
Okay, but the legislation responsibility is who? Who, Mr. Constitution? What is the strongest group in the government? Who's it supposed to be?
Well, the states and the people.
Okay, but of the federal government.
Oh, of the federal government legislative branch.
Okay,
the strongest branch of the 3.
All right. So why is it that we keep focusing on what Mr. Trump is doing and not focusing on what the leadership in the House is doing?
Right. I agree.
Excellent point. I agree too. I think you can have so many thoughts, but you have to at some point sit down with the leadership. The leadership has to lead, and they have to bring all the points together and come to some agreement on this is how we're going to do it. Now, that's one way, but the other way is, do we do it at all? Do you want to have Trump care? Did you like Obamacare? I agree with you. Why is the government trying to tell insurance companies and everybody what to do with health?
Alex, it's like they're trying to figure out how to pick up a turd on the clean end. Right?
It's my belief that my son says I'm conspiratorial. Well, yeah, and there are conspiracies too. This guy Obama ran the country into the ground on purpose. He deliberately wrecked our medical system so that
Cloward Piven?
Absolutely. Cloward and Piven, without a doubt. He's eliminated our military's ability to defend us. He's bankrupted us. He's put us in a medical situation from which escape is almost impossible. How do you?
Well, and then he set up through the intelligence agencies with his last little edict the ability to share rumor, throughout the entire government.
This is by design.
Right, and Trump was the response to that. Because people were sick of the establishment, they were sick of the left, and it's gone worldwide. I mean, you got Marine Le Pen in France starting to wake France up. I was talking to John L. Hancock today, and he was telling me how between the ages of 18 and 21, there's a very large percentage in Europe of that age bracket that is voting for people like Marine Le Pen, that voted for Brexit and so forth. The Brexit, by the way, just went live. Well, sort of live. They delivered the letter.
Right.
To Brussels saying, okay, here's our confirmation. We're the heck out of here. In 2 years from the 29th, it goes absolutely effective. But Brexit has gone live. This is a wave that's gone across the world because people are sick and tired of this garbage.
They really are. I was just talking with a gentleman who was on his way back to Germany. He is German, and we were speaking about why he... Some was, yes. He got a big kick out of me trying to speak in German with him, but yes. And he actually was saying that the reason that he wants to come to America, so many people want to come to America for so many reasons. We all know that. And it's a wonderful thing if they do it legally, and he's trying to do it legally. But he said 70% of my little village in Germany is Muslim now. I have to get out of the place where he was born, where his family was born for generations, owning the house, etc. And he's running from it because 70% Muslim in his little town. He said it's not safe, and it's not safe for my wife and my children.
The president of the Riverside Republican Assembly, his name is Kevin Boutier. He's originally from Nice, France. And he showed me something on his phone over the weekend. We were up there in Fresno for the convention, for the CRA convention. It was a list of the most common names last year of new births. One French name. All the rest of them were Muslim names.
Well, what was the number one name in the UK last year?
Muhammad.
Exactly.
All right, so Alex, so what are we to do here, Alex? We need full repeal. We've got Obamacare Light. They're trying to fix this turd, trying to tell us that we can pick it up by the clean end. What do we do, Alex?
Well, I go back to Ann, what's her face?
Ann Coulter?
Ann Coulter. She's, as I said last...
What's her face?
I'm
Ann
not
Coulter.
going
I'm not going
to
tell her that. Listen to us. We're not going to
Go
tell
ahead,
her
Alex.
that.
Go ahead.
As I said last time around, her idea is brilliant, and it makes sense for everybody, and that is that we open up and this is hard to do, it's hard to get off one horse and get on another while you're racing down the track.
Right.
But we need to get away from supplying everybody with their medical care and only worry about those people who are destitute, those people who are disabled.
And that goes back to the states. The states can do that. We don't want the federal government doing it. Let the states
and charities can do that. And then the rest of it would go along with the market forces. And therefore it would become cheaper. It's only become so expensive because we got the government involved and we got insurance companies as third payers who have no connection with. I was talking to a guy yesterday, a friend of mine here, and he said that his brother they had let their insurance lapse because it got so expensive. His brother had a heart condition that he didn't see coming. It cost like $80,000, and he said, I haven't got that kind of money. I don't have insurance. And they said, oh, well, then we'll work it out. They brought his price down to less than 10 cents on the dollar. So it's not like you can't do it. It's just a question of getting down and doing it.
Well, a lot of insurance is that way. I was at my dentist a couple of years ago, and through work did not have dental insurance. And they gave me their wish list of everything to do. And I said, well, I'm going to have to pay cash on this. And they showed me my bill. And I asked them, well, what would this be if it were through insurance? I was being charged 20% higher than they would have taken from the insurance company. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is if the insurance company is going to pay you 30 days, 60 days after they do the work, and I'm paying you when I leave, why is it that I have to pay more than the insurance company when I'm giving you better?
You got a discount for cash.
Well, and that's the deal. So and I just sat there and I just said, well, why is this? So they brought it down another $1,000 just because I asked the question. And this guy who had the $80,000 heart deal, you know, it's the same type situation.
Well, part of the problem with the cost of medical care was the third-party payer, insurance. And so the government's solution was to replace the third-party payer, which was a problem, with another third-party payer, them. Well, that's not going to make it better. It's going to make it worse. We need to go back to patient-provider relationships. That will, because then the doctors are fighting for your business. Price comes down, quality goes up. Have your insurance for catastrophic. It's just like your auto insurance. You know, your auto insurance. You don't charge your auto insurance for an oil change. All right, we're running out of time for this first hour. So real quick, let me say this: Sunday, April 23rd, 2017, 1:15 to 5 p.m. Location: Murrieta City Center, One Town Square, Murrieta. The Holocaust Remembrance Ceremony. Taking the lessons of the Holocaust to break the silence of fear, pain, and shame caused by prejudice and indifference. I was at the event last year, and it was fantastic. I would like you to be there this year on April 23rd. I may not be there because my The anniversary of my glorious birth is about that same time, and my wife kind of scheduled something ahead of time. So I want you to be there for me. Be my voice and be at the March of Remembrance there in Murrieta on April 23rd from 1:15 to 5 p.m. at Murrieta City Center in Murrieta. I want you there. Also, don't forget that on April 6th, Redlands Tea Party coming up this Thursday. I'll be there with Niger Innes. That's right, Niger Innes. If you watch Fox News, you know exactly who I'm talking about. April 26th, Pass Area Republican Women's Federated. And tonight, Constitution Association monthly meeting, constitutionassociation.com for all the information at Myrna's Cafe, 26850 Cherry Hills Boulevard in Menifee, right off the McCall Avenue off-ramp off the 215. We'll see you there tonight. We're getting ready to go into a second hour, and I know I can see Elise over here itching, wanting to say more about Obamacare, so here's what we're going to do. When we come back, she's got the first word. When we return, more about Obamacare, but also we have some other stuff to talk about. Are you ready? Planned Parenthood, felonies, Gorsuch, applying and force, and all that and more. Come right back.